Why is delegating so hard? I have a lot of clients that come to me that are burnt out, they're exhausted, they want to burn their business down, and they're regretting sometimes even starting their businesses because it's consuming their life, their energy, their time, their thoughts, right? It's stealing presence away from their family. And one of the very first things that we do is assess the things that they do on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly basis. And the interesting thing is you would not believe how many business owners are still doing little things in their business. Inventory, social media marketing. I had a client who we went through this process and she said, Cheree, I don't mind doing social media. I'm kind of good at it. I don't mind doing it. It only takes me, 2 hours a week. And why would I pay somebody $300 a month to manage my social media? And when we look at that list, and one of the things I have them do is rate on a scale of 1 to 5, which tasks are most energy giving and which ones are most energy draining. And for her, sales and coaching her team on sales was super energizing to her, but she wasn't getting to do any of it because she didn't have time. And so looking at this between social media and some inventory and a couple other things that were able to be removed from her calendar, it cost her to delegate these things roughly $1,000 a month for these 3 different things that she outsourced. But the potential return on investment was huge because that freed up about 10 hours, just from social media alone was 8 hours. And then the other things was roughly about 10 hours a month that she was able to free up that then allowed her to have the time and the energy to invest in coaching and to invest in training her team on sales. That is a much bigger return, right? Profit wise, because she could go out and sell somebody and training her team, she could make $5,000 a month minimum. She actually profited $4,000 a month because she was willing to delegate. But business owners, we wear all the hats. We're doing all the things and we get used to it. And so even as people bring on team members, they have specific tasks and things that they do for the team members, but as the owner, there's still the weight of marketing and, some of these other little things are still on their shoulders and they feel like they don't have the ability to outsource it. And sometimes it just takes an outside perspective to look at it and go, wait a minute, this is where you're spending all of your time and energy. This is not your zone of genius. How can we shift this and move you into more of your zone of genius? Because when you are in your zone of genius, that is where you're going to see the biggest profit return. And people get stuck in that. They get stuck in the fear, right? Or the logic of why would I pay somebody else to do this if I can do it myself? And sometimes for some people, it's like, well, I could do it better. Why would I pay somebody else to do that? And also, you have to understand what your strengths are, what your zone of genius is, and what's not, and what's stealing your time and your energy away from your zone of genius and where you should be living. Not everybody is at a place where they can outsource, automate, delegate, but there are a lot of things, especially with AI right now, that can be outsourced or done very cheaply that you don't need to be doing. But I find that people get stuck in this cycle, right? They just get stuck in the well, this is just what I have to do. And hiring can be hard. And there's also this level of understanding to scale a business, you need to true scale, you need people. If you don't like managing people, maybe your business shouldn't be growing. Maybe $1 million business is not for you. And so really understanding what do you value? What do you want to protect? Peace, I talked about that in the previous video. Do you want to protect your peace? Protect your energy, protect your family. What does that look like as far as how much you're going to grow and scale your business? And so sometimes people bring on team members and they realize this is more energy draining, right? And so maybe scaling is not for you, and that's okay. You get to choose what success looks like for you, but you have to understand what are you not willing to sacrifice? And there are lots of ways to delegate, automate without having an actual formal team and employees. I personally I don't really like managing people. I do really well with people. I can say, hey, this is what I want. This is my vision. And they can just go execute it. And I don't have to keep them on track, right? So there are a lot of different ways to grow and scale your business. But again, you have to understand, like, what do you really value? What do you want to protect? And what does success mean to you? Success doesn't have to mean a number, right? I think everybody chases the number because it's like, oh, that's going to feel good. And so there is some fear in that too. When you delegate, of that money is being taken out of your own pocket. And so you have to evaluate. But if you are kind of stuck and thinking like, gosh, maybe I do need to figure out what I can get off of my plate, or maybe I need to come back and figure out what does success look like for me. Maybe you've reached the success and you're realizing like, gosh, this doesn't actually feel great. This doesn't feel as good as I thought. There are a lot of different factors in that. And if you are feeling stuck in this, I want to invite you to schedule a breakthrough session. This is normally a $500 session. It's complimentary for anybody watching this video. If that is of interest to you, comment below and I will send you a link for that breakthrough session. And we'll identify, where are you stuck? Where do you need to go? What's the next step for you? And it's completely complimentary. It is not a sales call. If you choose to move forward in coaching and you want to move forward, we can talk about that, but this is not a sales call. This is a breakthrough session to help you identify what's the bottleneck in your business, what is keeping you stuck, what's stealing your joy and your peace and your energy, and how do you move forward so you can have your definition of success without sacrifice. Until next time.